Welcome to the Gay Buddhist Forum, where teachers from all schools of Buddhism offer their perspectives on the Dharma and its application in modern times, especially for LGBTQI audiences. These talks are offered freely to the world and made possible by appreciative listeners. If you would like to support our efforts to share the Dharma with underserved audiences, please visit gaybuddhist.org. There you can donate, find a list of upcoming speakers, or enjoy many hundreds of these recorded talks dating back to 1996.
Welcome back. We're going to begin by introducing ourselves. I'm Jim.
Luis.
Michaela.
Steve.
Josh.
Bob.
Alex.
Jerry.
Jim.
David.
Matthew.
Clint.
Jonathan.
Arturo.
I'm Brad.
Bill.
Steve. Newsom.
Robert.
Harry.
Tony.
I'm Richard.
Jack.
And online we've got Daniel, Joe, Jeff, Don, Lucky, Magnus, and Crystal Wolf. So welcome everybody. And our speaker today is Danadasa. Thank you for coming. Danadasa began meditating and practicing Buddhism in 1993 and was ordained in the Vajrayana Buddhist order in 2011 at the San Francisco Buddhist Center. At his ordination, he received his Buddhist name, Danadasa, which in Sanskrit means servant of generosity. In 1995, he developed a heart connection with the archetypal Buddha Amitabha. Please forgive me if I get any of the pronunciation wrong. Rooted in the Japanese Pure Land tradition, Jodo Shinshu, known in the Western world as Shin Buddhism, and has been practicing Amitabha Sadhana devotional practice since 2011. Danadasa is deeply passionate about teaching meditation, mindfulness, and Buddhism in a somatic and embodied way, bringing the Buddhist teachings to life in our imaginations through images and storytelling. Embodied practice is the path of getting out of our heads and into our bodies, where it is in our bodies that liberation reveals itself. Over the past 20 years, Danadasa has held various administrative and leadership roles with the San Francisco Buddhist Center, and in 2023, he resigned from all his formal SFBC roles, as well as taking a break from teaching for a period of wandering in the wilderness, free from external responsibilities, expectations, and social norms of the monastery, following the footsteps of the great crazy wisdom Mahasiddhas in the past. Since then, many lineage masters and archetypal Buddhas have provided Danadasa with guidance and inspiration. In 2024, Danadasa received Vajrayogini initiation and empowerment through Vajrayogini, the mother of all Buddhas. The meaning of the Buddhist words is beginning to reveal itself.
Hi, everyone. Happy New Year. I was really delighted yesterday morning when I checked my email. I got an email from Jeff, and he said something like, it's kind of a Hail Mary request, but do you think you could give a Dharma talk tomorrow at GBF? And thought about it for about 5 seconds. I was, what the heck? Why not? So it's just a real delight to be here. I was looking through my past notes just to see, what have I shared with GBF in the past? And turns out this time here is my 20th time speaking at GBF. So I was like, wow, I'm old. It's just such a delight to be here. Just a delight to see so many familiar faces. So what I'll be speaking about today, the name of this talk is called Tonglen and the Illumined Imagination. So this word Tonglen, it's actually a Tibetan word, and it translates as a giving and receiving, or receiving and giving. I don't recall what the order is. And it's a breath meditation. It's a breathing meditation. And I'll say more about that. Yeah. Okay, well actually, let's just start with this. I'm going to sing a Tonglen melody. I'll sing it in both Tibetan and English as well. Let me say something about this first, about singing. So in terms of the imagination, the language of the imagination is poetry, it's art, because these forms of communication, they bypass our cognitive faculties and they go right into our hearts when we speak about metaphor and symbolism and things like that. So by engaging in more imaginal practices, we actually can access a much more embodied experience within ourselves. In our society, we have a very strong tendency as a society to be up in the head. There's just so much information out there. So sacred melodies are just a way to really come into the body more fully. So I'd like to invite everyone just to receive this song. Tena jetsun lama tu je chen mahagyudroe didri dunyakun malutanda dalahamihin pa dang dahaki hedege shen la tang wai drokunde dang den parujihin ki lohodro hokuhunde dang den parujihin gi lo Holy Lama, Lord of compassion, inspire me, please, so all the pain of all mother beings. Their bad deeds and their obstacles may now ripen on me as I am ready. And so I may give them all my good and happiness practice in this way, assure that each one has all happiness. So Tonglen is it's a Tibetan Buddhist meditation practice, and I'll just describe the way that it is traditionally taught. One imagines during the in-breath, one imagines that one is breathing in the suffering of all beings. And one can, a very common instruction is to imagine the suffering of all beings as being like dark, heavy smoke. So whenever I think of this, I always, the image of, from Charlie Brown, right, a pig hen walking around, he's always got this big sort of thing of dirt around him, right? That's what I always imagine. So on the in-breath, you imagine breathing in the suffering of others in the form of this dark, heavy smoke. Another image I quite like is to imagine people's energetic fields, their emotional fields, their auras, if you will, and that these fields that surround us are just filled with this black smoke. You can breathe it in, and then on the out-breath, one breathes out clear moonlight. So this process of breathing in suffering into one's heart, and then in one's heart it gets transformed, it gets purified, and one breathes out this beautiful, clear, soothing moonlight, which carries with it the power of healing, of kindness and love. So this is how Tonglen is traditionally taught. And I know a number of people who have expressed reservations about doing such a practice. Actually quite strong reservations. And the reservations go something like this. It's like, wait a second, I'm supposed to breathe in the suffering of other people? Like, oh, no, you know what? I got enough problems of my own. You know, I don't. I'm not doing that. And of course, you are also breathing in your own suffering as well. But still, I think this is a really, a very valid reservation. So I'd like to play with this, experiment with this meditation with all of us here today. And then just engage in some imaginal practice around it. Okay? So I'm going to lead us in a little 5-minute meditation. So if you could all make yourselves comfortable in your bodies. And you can sit with your eyes open or your eyes closed, whatever feels right to you. And perhaps take a couple deep, intentional breaths. It's quite nice on the out-breath just to let out a sigh. And if you've ever practiced some yoga, you may have come across the ragdoll pose, where you just let your body go completely limp. And you can also do that on the out-breath, like this. So now, just Allow your body to breathe naturally. Your body has been breathing since the moment you were born. Your body knows what to do. So notice the gentle rising and falling of your chest and perhaps your belly too, with each in-breath and out-breath. And now, broaden your awareness to include all the other breathing bodies gathered here, both in this room and also on Zoom. And just notice how all these other breathing bodies are supporting your breathing body. And also notice how your breathing body is supporting all the other breathing bodies here. And now, imagine that we are all sitting together in this field of kindness, this field of love. And just breathe in this kindness and this love that is here amongst us. Just breathe it in. Allow this love to nourish your body. And just notice how this feels to be breathing together. this bell just keeps on singing. So Tonglen and the illumined imagination. Well, let's talk about the imagination before we talk about what I mean by the illumined imagination. And what comes to mind, it's one of my favorite quotes by Mark Twain, a well-known and beloved American writer and satirist and comedian. And one of the things he said, the most painful arguments I've ever had are the ones that never happened. Story of my life. It's like, it's like you bump up against someone, or someone bumps up against you, gets you all riled up, and you go home and you're, I'm going to give that person. And you plan out in your own minds, tomorrow I'm going to go talk to that person, I'm going to say this and this and this, and oh yeah, come on. What if they say this? Oh, if they say this, I'm going to say this. And you plan it all out. You play it in your mind. And this process of just like imagining this argument, it has the same effect as actually having the argument on our bodies, physiologically. Right? It's as if we're having the argument. So this is just the way our minds work. There's nothing unusual about it. And the beauty of the illumined imagination is knowing that this is the way the mind works, rather than imagining catastrophes, rather than catastrophizing and stressing out. Why don't we imagine narratives and stories that actually lead us towards peace, freedom, openness, spaciousness? We can create our own stories. And the stories we create, they don't need to be connected with, the laws of physics. They don't need to exist here in this time, in this place. So when we enter fully into the illumined imagination, anything is possible. Anything is possible. So you may have come across this teaching of it's called Tathagata Garbha. So Tathagata, this is a Sanskrit word. Tathagata is one of the names used to refer to the Buddha. Tathagata. And Garbha translates as womb. Womb. And this Tathagata Garbha teaching goes like this. It says that we all carry within us the potential to become a Buddha. And some people teach that, we're already all Buddhas. It's just we don't know it. And you come across a teaching like this, what? I'm already a Buddha? What are you talking about? That's crazy. That's nuts. No. And you can just for a moment just set that aside. This no. And just replace that with a maybe. And just open up to the possibility that we all possess within ourselves the potential to be completely free. So this notion of freedom, emancipation, I'll just give my quick little definition of what the enlightened state looks like. So for the enlightened mind, is completely at ease, completely at peace, completely imbued with love and compassion at all times and under all conditions. Complete ease and peace, love and compassion at all times and under all conditions. That's a tall order. Right? Imagine you get a call from your doctor. You've got cancer. You've got 6 months to live. Freak out. The enlightened mind is completely at ease with that. Now you won the lottery. Completely at ease. So the enlightened mind, this sense of ease and peace, it's actually completely independent of the contents of one's external experience. Anything can be happening externally, and it has no bearing on one's inner experience of peace and ease. This is what the Buddha spoke about in terms of liberation. So, we're going to do this Tonglen practice, but rather than doing it the traditional way, so first I'll describe it, then I'll lead us in this, we're going to imagine being in the presence of the Buddha, of 2,600 years ago. So we're going to imagine being in the presence of the Buddha. We're going to imagine what that might feel like. And then we're going to imagine the Buddha entering our bodies through the crown of our heads and taking a seat in the palace of our hearts. And then we're going to imagine the suffering of others and our own suffering as well as this black smoke, this dark smoke surrounding other people. And we're going to breathe that black smoke into our bodies, into our hearts, into the heart of the Buddha who is seated in our hearts. And it's the Buddha who will purify these obscurations, just pain, suffering, anxiety, stress, all of that. Blech. And then when we exhale, that purified energy will take the form of moonlight, pure moonlight. So that's what we're going to do. So once again, please make yourselves comfortable in your bodies. And I would suggest doing this meditation with your eyes closed. And let's just breathe together for a few moments. And now, let's imagine all together we time travel back to ancient India of 2,600 years ago, the time of the Buddha. And imagine that all the villagers are all in a buzz because the Buddha is going to give a Dharma talk. So imagine us following this group of people to this open field to see the Buddha. And there he sits upon a raised mound of earth. And we all take our seats, just gazing upon the Buddha. And now, imagine the Buddha dissolving into clear light, which enters your body through the crown of your head, and fills your whole body. And imagine the Buddha taking a seat in the palace of your heart. And now, imagine your own suffering and the suffering of others as this dark smoke filling their auras. And on the in-breath, imagine breathing this dark smoke into your body, into your heart. Into the heart of the Buddha. And imagine breathing out cool, soothing moonlight. And imagine this cool moonlight dissolving all of our obscurations, obstructions, anxieties, our brokenness, our pain and wounding. Yes, many of you know that I was an order member here with this community being the San Francisco Buddhist Center, the Tree Rock Buddhist Order. And so I practiced here for about 30 years. And in the introduction, said, I withdrew from all of my administrative responsibilities, and then I actually resigned from the order in March of 2025. And I am now practicing in a different tradition, in a Vajrayana tradition. And I've got a new teacher who I love. I absolutely love. So I'd just like to share some things briefly about the Vajrayana tradition. And in a particular way, the Vajrayana tradition, it doesn't easily integrate into our Western culture. So in the Vajrayana tradition, the guru is of paramount importance. Absolutely paramount importance. And our culture, we are founded on this principle of rugged individualism. You know, don't mess with Texas. Don't tell me what to do. Live free or die. That sort of thing. It's this pseudo-egalitarianism. So this notion of a guru, well, I don't know about that. You know, I know some folks who are anarchists, and their slogan is "No gods, no generals." And of course, if you've ever seen that next Netflix documentary, Wild Wild Country, has anybody seen that? Yeah, it's about Osho, Bhagwan Rajneesh. Fascinating documentary, and it's like 6 parts or something like that. So it goes quite in depthly, and it's basically it tells the story of how a spiritual community can go really wrong. I recommend it. So a lot of people have like cult radar. That's what I like to call. It's like you walk into a place. It's like a Buddhist center. I'll just say it's is this a cult? Like let me make sure. It's like and I know that when I practiced here at this Buddhist center, we were very hesitant to lead with any sort of ritual practices, chanting or chanting in unison. Oh, we don't want to scare people away. That sort of attitude. And it is what it is. So this notion of a guru, there's something now that I actually have a teacher, a guru, who is worthy of respect and honor, I can speak very directly to this of what is the value in that. So I was always kind of confused by it, by the whole sort of Tibetan Vajrayana diaspora and the presentation of Tibetan Buddhism to people like us in the modern era. So you can go on YouTube and you can Google like transmissions. So if for some reason you're interested in a Yamantaka transmission, you can search for it and you will find recordings of Tibetan lamas giving transmissions online, recordings of them. They're like 2.5 hours long. And these are actually legitimate transmissions. Because I have received transmissions, and I've also watched a couple online, just out of curiosity. And it's quite kind of startling to me, in a way. So what is it that a guru is actually doing? A guru is simply exemplifying the fruits of rigorous and effective practice. That's all they're doing. Right? And then they're sharing their experience of those fruits. Of course, there's a lot of dharma in there and whatnot. So this notion of like transmission, so you can go to a transmission and you can receive a practice from a Tibetan Lama or someone practicing with a Tibetan tradition. And the transmission part, what is transmission, what is transmitted, the thing that I find most fascinating is that which is transmitted non-verbally. So when I am with my teacher or receiving teachings from my teacher, I find that I very naturally am in contact with the best of me, with the best of my own potential. So there's something about my teacher that she just exemplifies. Something very beautiful. And for me, she just exudes and emanates this love, this joy. Actually, this incredible joy, this bliss. And it's contagious. So we actually all know this, just from our personal experiences. It's like, imagine you're in a work meeting and there's someone who's like totally aggro. Well, it affects the whole field, the interpersonal field of the meeting. Right? Or you can be with someone who's like really open, really kind, gives you their complete undivided attention. People used to say this about Bill Clinton. Like, you'd meet him and he would just give you his complete undivided attention. Right? And that has an effect. And there's something nonverbal being communicated. Right? So I'm receiving this like a taste of liberation through her, through my teacher. It's very beautiful, absolutely beautiful. Of course, like, how does one go about assessing whether another person is worthy of respect and honor? That's a whole separate topic. I'm not really going to go into that. It's very important to engage with a teacher with eyes wide open. Wow, it's already 11:48. How time flies. So maybe I'll just say just a few words about the shape of my practice. I have found over the years to hear more experienced practitioners just speak about their journey. I found incredibly helpful. So I'll share a few things about the shape of my practice. So through my teacher, I have been receiving, am in the process of receiving a series of transmissions. And what a transmission is, it's one, they're specific to a given Buddhist deity. So in Buddhism, there's a whole pantheon of deities. And these different deities, they just represent different aspects of the enlightened experience, different sort of archetypal energies. So for example, you can have these deities like Kuan Yin or Avalokiteshvara, who is the goddess of love. And they're sitting very peacefully, very beautifully. And you can also have these deities that are wrathful, surrounded by flames with these fangs and doing all sorts of gory things. So these all they all represent different sorts of archetypal energies. It's very powerful. It's a way of transforming the mind. And with each one of these practices, one is invited to develop a relationship with that particular deity through this practice of what's called sadhana. And sadhana is simply a visualization practice where you imagine being in the presence of this particular deity, and you imagine actually becoming this deity. And it's a very, very powerful practice. And I found that it suits me so well. In retrospect, my 30 years of practicing with the Triratna Buddhist order, in retrospect, it's crystal clear to me. I had no idea what I was doing. And now that I'm actually receiving instruction from a teacher who is worthy of respect and honor, a teacher who has walked the path, I can see it very clearly, and exemplifies the fruits of practice. Now I just feel so incredibly grateful to her, to the whole tradition, to be receiving these teachings, and yeah, yeah, it just fills me with joy. Okay, well, unfortunately, our time is up. It just kind of flew by. So I'm just going to conclude with the traditional Tibetan dedication prayer. Gewa dihi nududa laha maha sahange truhu gyune droha chikang mahalupa dehi sahala gopa. By this virtue may I quickly attain the state of a Guru Buddha and lead every living being without exception into that enlightened state. Jang Chup Sem Chok Rinpoche Ma Ke Panam Ke Gyurchi Ke Wan Yam Pa Me Pa Yang Gong Ne Gong Du Pel Wa Sho. May the precious bodhicitta, not yet born, arise and grow. May that which has been born have no decline, but increase more and more. Thank you all for your kind attention.
Thank you. So, thank you so much. Now is the time for announcements. Do we have any announcements today?
I'm your host today. Please stay and enjoy the company of the Sangha. There are refreshments. There's hot water for tea. The muffins are vegan. So if you're a vegan, go for it. Blueberry. To use a cup, please wash it and no, just leave it in the sink. I took the R. I'll be going around with the Dana bowl to accept contributions to cover our expenses. Your generosity is appreciated. Donations in the range of $10 to $20 to help the Sangha meet its expenses. These include honorarium for our Dharma speakers, rent for this beautiful center, monthly dinners we prepare for lot and street use services, our quarterly newsletter mailed mostly to people in prison, and scholarships for our retreats. There is a newcomer sign-up sheet on the credenza if you wish to be included and receive our Sangha membership directory. Please sign up and include your contact information if you wish to share with the group. Some members go out to lunch after the meeting. Everyone is welcome to join them. The group meets at the front door around 12:30.
Thank you. Any other announcements? Okay. No?
Oh, okay. Yes, as Tony mentioned, one of our things we do is Rockland Street Youth Center, which is a homeless shelter for young people. It's cut off age 22, I think. And once a month, the third Saturday of the month, we perform. We prepare a really nice, feel-good dinner for them. The shelter feeds and they do a good job taking care of it, but the meals, no surprise, are pretty basic. So we're trying to keep them a little fancier once a month. If you're interested in participating in that, it's like a 4-hour commitment. Just show up at the shelter, the food will already be, the groceries will already be there, the rest will be there, everything is planned out. Just show up and go to the work, chopping or rolling or whatever else. I think people who do it find it a rewarding experience. It certainly is an opportunity to engage Buddhism. So we're in hard times right now with lots of forces that aren't very benevolent. This is one chance to make a stand for benevolence. I'll be outside. You give me your name and contact information if you're interested.
Thanks, Glenn. So, will we have another dedication of merit? Or sure. Sure.
Never good enough.
By the power and truth of this practice, may all beings have happiness and the causes of happiness. May all be free from sorrow and the causes of sorrow. May all never be separated from the sacred happiness which is without sorrow. And may all live in equanimity, without too much attachment or too much aversion, believing in the equality of all that lives.
Thank you for listening to the Gay Buddhist Forum. If you would like to hear several new talks per month and be notified of upcoming speakers so you can participate live, please subscribe to this podcast, like us on Facebook, and join our mailing list by visiting gaybuddhist.org.